we are going to the biggest game of the weekend. This is Sunday. Same as it was last year, standalone game on Sunday night. Florida State and LSU, who is a 2.5-point favorite, over under a 57, 6:30 Sunday night. What are we looking at with this one? Parks, you start it. We're going to take your side first with Florida State, and a team that a lot of people have as a dark horse national title contender, a dark horse playoff contender, and an ACC champion in a lot of spots.
Yeah, I'll say that Florida State wins this game if Jordan Travis is near perfect, because LSU brought in a few pieces on defense this year that are going to be swarming. They brought in a few pieces themselves, though. They brought in a tight end transfer that's going to play a big role in this offense. But like I said in our previews, I don't know if this is going to happen, man. LSU is a serious title contender, and people need to get that through their heads. I think people are kind of brushing them under the rug because it's a Georgia-Alabama show. But I mean, they're in the SEC title last year, and Brian Kelly's first. When you get these guys that you can now transfer in with experience, and Brian Kelly's just general recruits, and he starts to build that culture. He did it at Notre Dame, where it was a way tougher place to recruit. It's going to be a swarming team. But Florida State wins if Jordan Travis is damn near perfect. I will put that out there. Jared Verse on the other side of the ball needs to have a huge game. Big time edge rusher for them that's back. He needs to read the read option well, because Jane Daniels can run the shit out of the football. So it's going to be a great game. Might be game of the, I'm going to say it. It's game of the week, right? 5-8 matchup.
Yep, so, I think so too.
A lot of implications coming from this game, but I won't give any of my picks away till the end. But Florida State needs to be damn near perfect to beat this team.
And it is a lot of implications for a week one neutral site game between the SEC and the ACC. Like, you don't see this a ton.
No.
Like, this game means a ton, and in a world where two lost teams don't get into the playoff. So what you're really telling one of these teams is if they lose and they start off 0-1, undefeated, right? Like, you have to go 11-0 through the last of them. And that's not going to be easy for either one of these teams, as they have tougher games on the schedule. I think when you look at LSU, I think they win if they can slow down the Florida State rushing attack. They have the offense. LSU has the offensive line to protect Jane Daniels. That's a strong, star-studded group that's going to have a lot of picks on it. They're going to be all right in the running back room, but they have elite playmakers on the outside, and it's Jane Daniels who can get them the football. That's a big part of that for me. And I think, are they going up against a good defense? Of course. They're going against a really good Florida State team who a lot of people are high on. But I think there's a lot on the mind of Brian Kelly right now on how that game ended last year. And honestly, neither team played great last year, but LSU was a better team last year. I think you could say that. And it felt like that in the entire game, but it didn't work out that way. Can you get to Jordan Travis? Like, you have a really good defensive front seven for LSU, and just an experienced Florida State offensive line. You're going to have to make those guys work. Like, they know what they're doing. They understand their assignments. They've been there a long time. Can you get him out of the pocket, make him uncomfortable? Because the kid can move. He's elusive. You're going to have to make him uncomfortable and make the run game. Basically, you're going to have to make him beat you just uncomfortable. You're going to have to keep him on his heels the whole entire game. And I think that's going to be a much tougher job than what people are saying or even predicting. When you look at this game as a whole, us four here, do you see it as, if you lose this game, like, can it really hurt you that much outside of just your win-loss record? Should it hurt you as much as some people might say it is on Monday morning after this happens, when your pundits and talking heads at ESPN or whatever channel are like freaking out about it, overreacting to a game, I should say?
It's like that argument we had at a couple episodes ago where it's like, your early season losses, do they really mean as much as like end of season ones, where you're like, well, we didn't know who we were then, or do we know who our identity was? But I think when it's this serious of an implication of a game, when it's 5 versus 8, yeah, it's gonna carry some weight versus if you're playing an in-conference rival or something like that early in the season. I think this one should have a little bit more weight because it is very serious implications for a potential playoff team later in the year.
100%. Like, Schaefer, if you look at, maybe let's say Florida State loses. Let's just say that. And then they lose one more after that. So they're 10-2, but they win the ACC. Like, is it completely dependent on the rest of the country, or are they really going to look at this first week and be like, well, they lost to LSU?
I think so. I don't see a scenario where they win the ACC with 2 losses, especially, and getting into the playoff. I just don't see, especially in the ACC. Now, LSU, on the other hand, if you switch, if it is what it is, like, we know that there's SEC bias out there. Now, if LSU loses this game by 3, and then they lose to, I don't know, say, I'm trying to remember who they have on their schedule. Yeah, they have Bama. Maybe they lose to Alabama. Bama falls to somebody else and they still get in as the East champion. Or they beat Bama and they fall to somebody else. Maybe they get in the East champion as a 2, and then they beat Georgia. I think that team could get in because they would be playing, I think, an undefeated
So many things
Georgia
have to go
team.
your way.
A lot, and that's what would have to happen for a 2-loss team to get in the playoff. Wouldn't you agree? But
Yeah,
a 2-loss
I
LSU
agree.
could get in. A 2-loss Florida State would not get in. And it is what it is.
Which that's the benefit and the curse of betting on a schedule like this. Like
Yeah.
you need the wins in some spots, but it really hurts if it doesn't work out the way you want it to. I guess if you lose the game and the rest of the season plays out the way you need it to, you're fine.
Yep.
If not, man, like they could literally go 10-2, lose this game, will lose one more, and hit their season win total over, and it not really feel like it was the Florida State year they should have had, which is really nice to say because that's a program we really wanted to be back in college football at the top of everything. But
I think
that's just kind of where we sit with the 14
take that.
playoff. It's the last year of the 14 playoff. They don't have to complain about it anymore after this one, which is ironic that this game of this magnitude is in the last year of it. Parks?
Do we agree that I think time will tell? And I kind of think that's what Schaefer said. But if we look at the schedule, let's say LSU beats Florida State and LSU ends up losing 3 other games. That's going to hurt Florida State more than if they lose this game and then LSU runs the table too. So it's time will tell. If they slip up after their loss, it's going to end up hurting you more in the long run because now it's not, they lost to LSU week 1. It's they lost to 8-4 LSU week 1. So I think time is going to play a huge part in this because it's so early in the year.
100%. Now let's go to predictions for this one. Parks, we broke it down a little bit. Who do you have winning?
I got LSU winning by 7.
Reese?
I got the Tigers as well.
I know who Schaefer has, though. So, am I going to let this be a clean sweep? And then we could write in the Seminoles, right?
It can be a clean sweep, and
Is
then
what
we
we
can
do.
clip ourselves if Florida State wins. Because I can clip myself about 100 times. I believe in LSU, so.
Because Schaefer, you have LSU, no? That's who
I
you
got
bets on.
LSU. Yeah. Yep. Took them as a play.
Okay. I think LSU wins this one, too. Not to, blow the rest of my predictions for the rest of the year, but I'm going to need this one.
Yeah, me.
Need this one.
Yeah.
I'm going to need this one. Then we're going to go to a standalone Monday night game.